All right, so we are live. Uh,
Ugh.
actually, get oh, wolf song. No wolf song. We might get a purge actually. Yeah, we're dangerously close to a purge. Cause I want to knock out the purge, and after the purge happens, I'm going to log and do something constructive. Uh, so let me know when you are at the. Then you're at the stone.
I'm at the map room now. I'm gonna teleport now.
All right. I'm
Fuck is
teleporting.
this? Where the fuck this be at? There it is. Okay.
It's so dark. So
Mm.
yeah, it's weird when I do it on PS4. People get the fucking notification. That's I guess it's more efficient. Is there a priority? Weird. So good old Trigger Tits had another sad. Where are you, Hannah? There you are.
Yep.
So Trigger Tits had a
Where
sad.
is my glow
Look,
stick? Where's my glow stick?
just
There
follow
it is.
mine.
No.
Just follow me.
Well, I wanted my own glow stick. Hold
Oh,
on. God damn it. I don't need no man's. Hold on.
okay.
There we go.
All right, you
There we
independent woman. Is it? Are you upset?
go.
Is it just your time of the month vagina thing? Vagina?
Yep.
Is that what it
Gee,
is?
my lady bits are quite frothing this month, it seems.
Oh man, yeah. It's
It's
you
that
gotta
time of the month for them
you
to
gotta
froth.
control that thing, man. It makes you go crazy. Because I heard
You gotta
from
wrangle that in.
yeah, tame that thing. Because I heard from a reliable idiot. What's up, man? Oh, Wednesdays and Wednesday or Friday. Actually, yeah, just do Friday because I got all Fridays off. All right, but yeah, sorry, it's my little brother. But yeah, so I heard from a reliable idiot that when you women get too animated, man, it's usually a sign of that time of the month. But it's crazy. I've been married a few years, and it doesn't matter if it's that time of the month. If you say something fucking stupid to a woman, she's gonna react to you. Maybe it's just me. Oh, you gotta climb up here. Where you going? Climb up here.
Yeah, I'm frostbitten. I fucking can't.
Oh, you got
I didn't
the
even realize I was frostbitten until I tried, and then I kept falling
you
down.
take off your get naked. Get naked. Hurry.
No, I'm not getting naked. I don't
Get
want to.
naked.
I'm not here for your entertainment, male.
Get naked.
No,
Get naked.
I have more self-respect.
Get naked.
I'm not doing it.
Man, I you know what? Somebody should tell his sister that he's disrespecting women. Isn't it
Oh,
crazy?
look how much gold this motherfucker had. Wait, what?
Oh shit,
What?
how much gold did he have?
I picked it up.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, like
shit.
3 fucking whole gold pieces.
Oh,
Jesus.
nice, nice. Somebody should tell his sister that he's disrespecting women. It's like, we're gonna tell your sister and she's gonna kick you out of her fucking attic.
Fuck, man. Let's see.
After this,
Can I?
yes,
I'm gonna leave
we're
my pants on.
leave your pants on. After
Wait,
this, we are
what the fuck does getting naked do? Oh, extremely cold. That is so dumb.
so. I mean,
That is so dumb. Me getting naked warms me up better than having armor on. What?
yes. After this, we're gonna go do something constructive. We're gonna work on our math together, Hannah.
Wait, why can't
We're gonna do math.
Wait, why can't I?
Just
What?
climb up. Just climb up.
That's not. As you can see, I'm trying, and it just knocks me off.
So
What the fuck?
apparently, G-Man pays 250 uh, a week for his attic roost. Is that how much they charge him? Wow, man. So wait, if he only made eight, like was it 850 an hour? What is the rate for minimum wage in Jersey?
It just rounded to 8. It's probably
It's
8.
right
It's
eight.
probably 8.
So oh
Yeah.
my God, like hold on for a second, something's not right. Like he would have to work like 3 or 4 weeks or something. I need to actually get I can't do math in my head, but something ain't adding up, man. How did he save up several $1,000s for a dirt bait, but he's paying 250 a month to stay in
Well,
somebody's
you gotta
attic?
realize it's family. Well, it's his family member, so they probably let him slip and slide all the time.
Oh yeah, that's probably
You
true.
know,
And
like, hey, whenever you have money, pay, kind of thing.
yeah, he's over there buying fucking fruity pebbles and shit, and or what is
Oh,
that? The
not
apple
me.
juice.
If I when I pay rent, if I don't pay, if I don't do my shit on time, my phone gets disconnected, my other shit gets disconnected. Yeah, responsibilities and shit, but whatever.
They hold you to your family holds you to a standard. How dare they do
That's
that?
weird.
Don't they know who you are on the internet? Don't they fucking know? You are Hannah Zubby on the internet. If you don't have a
Yo,
job,
fuck
you
this
know,
King Rock noise. Get the fuck out of here.
oh, just run, man.
I mean, why are we running? Why
Because
are you running? Why are you running?
you're half naked and I'm soft. That's why. And what we need is
No,
up
one of
here.
us doesn't have a bra on, okay? And one of us should.
You
Drag.
know what? Hey, look. My character's sexy. Okay.
Drag.
My character's who I want to be. Dragna, his
So work
comment.
on it.
Wait, his comment. I want 500 so I can pay my rent for a couple of weeks. For Patreon. Does he have content that is worth people Patreoning to? I didn't. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah.
I must have
It's
missed
talking
that.
about B17, bro. Come on, that's some serious
17,
medical science right there.
man. You know, I had the TA that's in my tissue culture class, and I think I was live when I was talking about B17, and he just laughed like it's that fucking funny. Like it's not a motherfucker that actually takes this shit seriously, other than idiots on the internet. But you know what? What the fuck does he know? He just does actual research, in an actual lab. But that is the real science happens here on G Plus, where a fucking hood goblin from Gary, Indiana, with the
Oh,
hygiene
don't
habits
fuck
of
about that. Don't
no
fucking
no
talk to
don't
me about that idiot. He would
no
listen. You couldn't find his fucking penis in the dark. Let me tell you, he's one of those fucking dumbass. Ah, that's the thing that kills me. He's just barely smart enough to know that he's a dumbass, but he doesn't want all the other dumbasses to know. So he behaves in such a way that deceives all the lesser dumbasses. That's what pisses me off.
remember when
That's what
G-Man
pisses me the fuck off.
told like I was asking, I was like, so how do you know that True actually knows the stuff that he knows? Because said G-Man, you've acknowledged that those of us who do get to work in labs kind of have to know stuff. Over here. Those of us who actually like have access to labs, well, we've already proven in real life that we know the stuff because we have access to the labs. But this dude who's never stepped foot in the lab in his life supposedly knows his shit. Oh, well, because he uses words that I don't know about. I'm like, really? Word? Is that how that works? Man, if that's all it takes, then he could be. How do you know he's not just making up words? Oh, because I hear you guys respond to him. Yeah, because we're telling him he's full of shit. It's oh, well, that's
Well,
not how it
like he would
seems.
be impressed by a fucking eloquent sex phone operator. Like who the fuck cares? Like, it's stupid.
But you gotta think of G-Man's fucking
Do
standard.
you not want this
So
shit? I'm here picking this shit up like I'm a
what are you
dumbass. Like what the fuck?
what are you dropping? I mean, what are you picking up?
You're dropping obsidian and shit.
Yeah, I got plenty of that shit. I need that.
What?
I'm looking for gold.
This is an invaluable resource. Don't farm it if you don't want it. What are you fucking?
I'm getting the
What are you doing?
gold. I'm farming this for the gold.
Oh, that is the Jewiest thing you've said today.
Look who I hang around. Look, I'm here for the gold. That's it.
Oh, okay, I'm back.
My gold. We're live, by the way.
We're live?
Yeah,
We're live. Apparently, I don't know why, but we are.
man. It's crazy. Yeah, I heard he booted you, Frosty, man. You should know he likes to surround himself with dick suckers. So you're not gonna find too many people who are in his chats now, because I got this dude to change his entire way that he runs his channel. He's that sensitive now.
Yeah, you wonder why? Guess who he's drawing inspiration from? Is his name too imperative? I wonder why. I wonder why, as time goes on and the stupider shit that he does, he acts more and more like True. I wonder who's whispering in his ear that that's somehow a good and positive direction he needs to take his life in.
A part
I
of me
wonder who's
wonders.
gaslighting him when he's doing stupid shit. I wonder who's gaslighting him and encouraging him to continue doing stupid shit that's going to get him in trouble. I wonder
Oh,
who's doing that.
I don't know. I think he's listening to Auto. I think he's making the best moves. He's out now. He's trying to go find a job while I'm sitting here getting paid by people to talk shit about him, and getting paid by the government, for my accomplishments that I didn't accomplish supposedly, which is again is
It's so
another
fucking
strange thing.
sad, dude. I can't, like, I feel so fucking sad. Like, I don't feel sad for Trui. Fuck that guy. He knows he's a loser and he doesn't give a shit. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, it's
Zingaran fighter? Fuck you.
he's just a regular ass dude. I'm trying
Yeah, I
to.
guess
It's
that guy.
somewhere over here. These
Come
dudes spawn.
here. Alright.
Is it right by the Or actually, I think it's up here
Is it
that
up
they
there?
spawn. I want to say it's up here.
Listen, excuse me, my tits are jiggling all over the place. I kind of need
It's,
extra space.
that's okay. It's okay.
Be able
Let
to
them
climb
juggle.
up. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. The handicap of being a woman, you know. You know what I mean.
I know. Gotta
Oh,
carry
there's an
everything
archer
for
up here. Who are you? Who are you? Oh, you're just a regular archer. Go fuck yourself. Let me kill you.
man. I
So
love
what was
him.
that about being? What was that about being a woman?
It's a handicap, really. It's a curse.
That's what I
My
Well,
heard.
tits are
I
just
mean, I
all over the
know.
place. I bleed everywhere, and, you know,
Just go
God
crazy. That
forbid
Yeah,
when I
I
get a
mean,
little too excited.
what was it? I was listening there to G-Man there, and I mean, it just might be your time of the month, but I mean,
yeah.
who knows? Because that's a totally acceptable thing to say.
Yeah. It's
It's not a
it's
total cop out or whatever.
it's not. It's no wonder that he's single and he lives in his sister's fucking attic. I'm just saying. There's a reason why he's not in his own place with a woman who actually cares for him, producing children. Kind of like me. Being a productive member of society. Except he's an idiot ranting outside, getting coddled by grown men for whatever reason. But I don't know. It's strange.
Oh, yeah,
Fucking,
that's a little strange.
It's a little bit. Oh, here's a motherfucker
whatever.
here.
Listen, he's taking life advice from a guy who basically looks like a fucking raccoon in the best of times and decides to put lip gloss and then make fun of everybody else for being effeminate. So, fuck it,
You
whatever.
notice he doesn't come on camera
Seeker's the
anymore.
Smith. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, who the fuck
Oh,
is this
he's
guy?
he's rare. He's a rare blacksmith.
Oh, I'm gonna get this guy. Let's fuck
You
this
want
guy
him?
up. I want to kill him.
Okay.
Yeah, I want him.
Let me
What the fuck?
get. Oh
Is that a
God.
serious question?
Oh God. Leave me alone. Oop.
Just knock him out. Knock a bitch out.
Uh. Uh. Did y'all notice that Veckel doesn't come on camera anymore? I think someone told him that he looks like Ratfink. You know who that
Who the
is?
fuck is Rat? Oh,
Look up. I'm gonna drag him back. Look. Go type
alright.
in on Google. Go to Google. Go to Google. Type in Ratfink and go to images.
Why? Like, this is like one of those times where it's like, oh, hey, type in this on YouTube and listen to this fucked up song. I'm like, okay, well, oh, excuse me.
Oh no, that if you want
Yeah, let's
that, you gotta go to type in "Fuck the Pain Away" by Peaches if you want a fucked up song.
So rat tips?
Rat Fink,
Think,
F-I-N-K,
think, think.
Fink, Rat Fink.
Rat, F-I-N-K.
If you look at the way his face is shaped, he looks like Rat Fink.
Oh, Jesus.
Go look at his face. He looks like Rat Fink.
Listen, sorry, we just started mentioning true appearances now it's my customary take a shit moment, so I'll be right back.
Wow.
The Indian in the cupboard.
What?
So Daiso says nigga is a in the nigga in the attic versus Indian in the cupboard. I got 20 on the Indian. I'm sorry. Like, does he really think that he could talk shit to anybody on the internet? He lives in his sister's attic. I'm like, bruh, you can't. You've lost all credibility. You could even. How are you celibate, but you keeping your dick not clean? I mean, what's going on with that? What's going on with that? I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe he's taking hygiene tips from Tommy Hall. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I think Tommy Hall's a pretty clean dude. I can't say that.
He looks pretty clean cut, you know.
Yeah, I'll
He's
give.
he's got that kind of what's the guy from Sounds of the Lambs there? Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill.
Jack,
Yeah.
you're a doctor, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got
Of
that,
course.
he's got that
Yeah,
kind of,
you're a
Of
doctor.
course.
So I think you might need to diagnose why every time I hear Turner Pierce's name, my metabolism goes into hyperdrive, and I just need to take a little poopsie. It's something about him just really spurs the colon, you know?
It's irritable bowel syndrome. I mean, that's what I
Could
can
be.
think of.
Could be.
yeah, that seems like something you should probably get checked out.
Yeah.
Eh,
I mean,
devotee archer. Where the fuck am I?
I'm trying to remember where Anal's Prey Finder is in He's somewhere. Yeah,
Anal pain finder. Yeah. Where is
anal pain finder. Yeah.
Everybody's a devotee over here. What the fuck?
No, I don't think anus is
Who
up
are
there.
you?
No,
Master of ceremonies.
no, you went too far.
Oh, I went
Oh
too far.
man,
Well, fuck, whatever.
Gary is jerking off
Watching.
after he's finned something. Oh, I can't scroll back up on this.
Who the fuck are you? Are you also a devotee, my guy? Yes, you're a devotee. Fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much those guys you're looking for can spawn from any fighter or archer in that area. So it's not
Oh,
just the
Mm.
one area we're in. You gotta check out all of them.
okay. I'm just gonna kill them.
That's why I'm running around just trying to. I'll kill everybody who isn't who I'm looking for at that point. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of fucks I don't do. Alright, who are you two? Identify yourself. Stop! Present to me your ID. Anise the Gobbler.
Oh yeah, that's a rare cooking person.
So, Syed, the Secret Keeper.
That's alchemist.
That's the alchemist. Yeah.
Right. Okay, guys, yeah. Alright, who the fuck are you two cock gobblers?
Oh,
Sumerian
that would be
Alchemist 1, Iberian Alchemist 3. Fuck you two.
no, that would be Vekel and True. Those are the two cock gobblers, the two primary ones I
Well,
would
of
say.
course. Yeah, from my understanding.
My
Oh
goodness.
god, I just.
Spoke is working his way up though. I gotta hand it to him. But people got some pretty good screenshots of him sucking G-Man off because he's usually like the first on deck. Notice he hasn't come back in my chat in a while. Ever since I showed everyone how much of an ugly motherfucker he is. But you know, it wasn't a surprise. That's why he never turned on his camera. Some people told him years ago that he should never ever come out before the fucking before dawn.
Uh,
Well, I don't know. I think I saw somebody was saying that Spoken the other day was in G-Man's chat pleading with him to just talk about the gospel and stop talking about you.
Oh, did it work?
What the fuck do you think?
Even when an idiot gives him good advice, he still won't listen. That should tell him something. But you know, hey, I even told Antonio if he stopped talking about me, that would show you something. That would show you two things. He has self-control and he actually listens to you idiots. No, he doesn't. And that's the fun part. That's the fun part. Oh
You
man.
know, I think it's something that we point out though is that guys like G-Man, they're not relevant. They're not relevant without us atheists.
That's true.
If it wasn't for us atheists, he'd just be completely irrelevant.
Because I mean, if we were, would he be making videos every time we go live? I mean, just saying. He'd
I
be
mean,
listening
pretty
to his
much,
Christian
yeah.
brothers. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, I mean, like if we weren't so relevant, then he wouldn't be making videos about us all the time. Yeah, if atheism truly was a joke, he wouldn't be talking about it all the time.
because think about it. If someone in his position, living with his sister in her act, who's now jobless and a bum, he has certain priorities, right? He can't be like me, be successful and actually do something with his life, have a family, a loving family, and be surrounded by knowledgeable, caring people. No, 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 no. But he has to spend his time talking about people he claims are irrelevant and aren't doing anything. Well, I am at home in the air condition getting paid to point out his stupidity and receiving pretty good emails from people too thanking me because they find it cathartic that I expose a narcissist and an idiot for who he is. So I feel pretty accomplished.
Yeah, yeah. I just, I mean, there's a couple things that I just look at, like, you know, atheism doesn't exist. Now let me make my 246th video about atheism.
Yeah, how does that? It doesn't exist, but I'm gonna discuss it for the next 2 hours. Huh?
Yeah, but let's just keep on talking about it.
That's
Yeah.
weird. It's strange. Huh? But I mean,
But hey,
hey,
you know what? Yeah.
I like maybe I think this is what it is, Sokka. We aren't smart enough to understand them.
You know what? Jeez, that might be it. Maybe he's like one of those like beautiful mind geniuses there.
Yeah.
More like actually probably more like Rain Man. He's like probably like a little Rain Man.
I think that's apt.
Like that's probably. I mean, shit. Like we all think that G-Man's an idiot, but you drop a box of toothpicks in front of him, he'll be like, or three toothpicks. Like he's a fucking secret genius.
He's a diamond in the
He
rough.
could be. He could be. He just needs that one thing that really, speaks to him, like Legos or something,
I was thinking
Yeah,
True's dick in his ass, but I mean Legos works too.
Are we talking about anal pain finder, or are we talking about somebody else now? I'm confused.
I mean it's
Anus pain finder.
Anus pain finder. Oh, excuse me.
If the guy's name is Anus, you don't need to jokeify by calling it anal. I mean, it's already a fucking joke.
Anos pain finder, prey finder.
You know, I'm so smart. The easiest way for me to tell how to get back to the wheel of pain is all the dead bodies I leave behind.
Yeah,
It's like a trail of breadcrumbs.
it is. It
Oh,
really is.
except instead of breadcrumbs, it's limbs.
Right, and body parts, yeah.
Doc Savage says I invited True and G-Man to give my lectures by video link, and they don't respond. They don't even respond. I'm not surprised. I mean, I pray to what did he say that we pray to? Satan? Whatever. I pray to Satan that one day I get to be a lecturer and get fucking paid and go to Switzerland and date the kind of women that's definitely not my wife that fucking Doc Savage gets to fuck around with. And like that's an honor. Like that is a fucking honor. And by the way, folks, if I wish in my wildest dreams that I had the pimp game of fucking MP and could pull the women that Doc Savage has.
Drake,
I'm just saying.
not to interrupt your rant, but I might have gotten Penis the Gobbler. And there's not enough spots on the wheel of plane on the pain, so wheel thing.
Well,
Yeah.
go ahead and destroy Seekus. He spawns regularly. Just go ahead and pull him out.
But I want him. I want them all. I don't
Okay,
want to destroy any of them.
okay. I actually, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and destroy Seekus because I have a bunch of blacksmiths already. I have extra. I already have tier 4s, so we only have a few penis gobblers. So yeah.
There we go. Penis Gobbler's in there. So, well, there's another dude over there, the alchemist, that I knocked out.
Just lay him
Oh, it's
over
fine.
here. Just lay him over there, and then we'll get him when the guy gets done. Actually,
All
I'll
right.
put this on here because I'm running out of line.
But don't like. This is the thing. I'm not like when G-Man talks. I don't listen. I don't care. Like it doesn't
You
matter.
should
Whatever he says
listen.
about health and B17 and all this other shit. Who gives a shit? Like
It
honestly, who
is
gives a
hilarious.
shit?
You know what? I will say he got me. He definitely got me when he said, "I know a kid of cancer," and I was like, "Oh shit, no, what do you know, man?" B17. I was like, "You dumb motherfucker!" Like I should have saw it coming. I really should have, but I thought he was going to say something new, I guess. But I don't know why. I don't. I guess because I don't keep a running track of the bullshit that idiots profess. I mean, I should, given what I do here. But I'm too busy learning actual science. Or mixing my
Dude, the
Kool-Aid.
dude, like, but you gotta understand, where he's not actually learning from, available papers on PDF format online, right? He's not learning from anything outside of YouTube. He thinks YouTube is a trusted source in and of itself, right? If someone made a YouTube video, it must be true, right? Like, it's just like my 14-year-old cousin. Like, I try to explain to her, no, putting a banana peel in your mouth and walking around all day does not make your teeth whiter. Like, fucking stop.
There was this thing yesterday. Like he was.
Oh, he was reviewing other people's videos.
And he was just like, listen, I'm gonna do some more research on this, and and for all the people that think by my research is just looking up YouTube videos, I got an entire shelf of books over there, full of stuff. Like I got a book on all the vitamins, and I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, if you have a book of all the vitamins, I want you to go pick it up right now and find me vitamin B17 in that book. like seriously, just, I mean, like do that. Just please, like I will I will not talk ill of G-Man for like a full week.
That's a good
If he
deal.
goes and picks up that book and finds vitamin B17 in his book of vitamins that he claims to have.
You know what? I will join that. I will stop. I will stop here, folks. And I know he's watching. Those little butt buddies are watching too. I will stop making videos about G-Man for an entire fucking week. If he makes a video on one of the things he said he was going to make a video on, oxidation. I want him to, by himself, make an entire video. Take as many notes as you want to. I don't care. Don't play someone else's video. You sit down and explain oxidation in relation to, get this, antioxidants. I want you to explain the process, simple chemical formula about oxidation. So I make it happen, make it so. Because he mentioned
God
that
damn, this
yesterday.
dead body is hard to drag.
I mean, you could just drag it back to my wheel of pain. I mean, it's honestly not that far.
It's far enough that I'm too lazy to do it. Damn it.
Oh my god, it's you know my place is right down here.
You do realize that my thing is to kill people and to make, convince them to join our cause, not necessarily to drag them back. I save that for the other people. That's more your speed.
Okay, drag him down to the bottom of the road of the righteous, and I'll bring him back.
Hmm.
Because I know the way back.
I don't know the way back, so I don't want to risk it.
Yeah, do you know what a road of the righteous is?
I'm saying I don't know the way back to your place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I'll meet you down
you
there.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, just
I'm gonna put him in front of the lesser wheel. That's fine.
Okay. I'm at the bottom of the road of righteous. But yeah, so yesterday, some of you might have missed it. He was talking about antioxidants, and of course, him and like a lot of other people, they tend to not acknowledge something called antioxidant stress. And I had to mention that as I was explaining what it was. He said, "Oh, I'm going to do an entire video on just on oxidation." I was like, "Really? Is that so?" Huh. So he's going to do one of two things. He's going to watch a YouTube video. He's going to ask True Empiricism. True Empiricism is going to give him a fucking 20-minute rant about something that could be summed up with like an acronym. But, and hint, 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 big hint, huge fucking hint. But he's still not going to even acknowledge the acronym or have a decent summation of what it basically is and how it relates to the topic. So
don't trigger me by mentioning true empiricism. Honestly, like I just.
You're just afraid of his intellect. That's what it is.
Oh, get the fuck out of here! You serious? Intellect? Yeah, I'm fucking intimidated by the fucking free newspaper guy on the side of the street. Here, you want a free New York Times? Oh yeah, because I'm sure that you fucking actually read what the fuck that's in there. I'm so afraid, really afraid. So stupid. I don't. Oh God, he's just a detestable human being. Like he's a miserable fuck. He looks like he hasn't slept in 5 years, and then all of a sudden he gets to go online and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, people who are stupider than me," and I know it because I've admitted to as much online that there are people that I call my friends that are dumber than me, and I admit to this. Hello. Okay, does nobody find that a little bit what the fuckish? No, okay, that's apparently acceptable. All right, whatever. He admits that he's basically telling them shit that he thinks is correct, which is demonstrably not the case, and then nobody bats an eye. Oh yeah, true empiricism is my friend. He's gonna tell me everything around. Oh my god, man, it's so great. Jesus. But why can't Ronnie make his own content that gets views? Why can't he do that?
Because he's too ugly to appear on camera. Oh, no,
Yeah.
the content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's that. But I'm talking about like little, higher brow than that. Let's go there. He takes shit from Matt Dillahunty. He takes shit from other debates, and then because he got enough copyright strikes on his fucking True Empiricism channel, which is why he can't live stream on that motherfucker anymore. No. Don't care, whoever you are, wireless caller. Fucking. He learned enough times that he just can't take shit that isn't his own. Now all of a sudden he adds 2 or 3 seconds of commentary, and now all of a sudden, oh, I'm a major content producer here in the community. Get the fuck out of here. Transparent asthma. He stole. Did you see? He took someone else. I don't want to say he stole. He took someone else's video who just so happened to be agreeing with him, right? And I think it was what was it, the Reds Rhetoric debate he had on General Han Solo's channel.
Mm-hmm.
And the dude didn't say anything to him. He was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you for uploading my content. But that's basically what he did. He barely changed anything from someone, a fan of his content. A fan of his did a video response to that debate. He barely changed the content of his fan and put it on his own channel and uploaded his own shit.
Didn't he say he was going to be trying to do this full time? Didn't he say that, I don't know, earlier last month?
Yeah, he said that earlier this year. He said that earlier, yeah.
And that he was...
But what the fuck does he do?
He was supposed to be getting people. He's it keeps saying he's talking to biologists or talking to
Yeah, he ain't talking to
professionals or
nobody.
talk. I don't. I'm like, so you talk. I talk to professionals every other day. Like, what does that actually mean? Does that translate to something? I mean, I could,
It no, it
someone.
doesn't. Listen,
People.
he's emailing professors, he's emailing people that he might see on YouTube or whatever to see if he could set up a debate. And when they say no to his dumbass, he's gonna consider that a conversation and not a I attempted to reach out to so and so and I got rejected. That's what it
I
is.
think I think that this is one of those things that I'm not sure if they realize this is that in academia there's no debate between creationism and evolution or
None.
creationism and science. There's none. You take a look at there's only really been one recently, and that was the Bill Nye Ken Ham debate, and that was a hard debate for Ken Ham to actually throw together because nobody wanted to do it. Nobody thought that it was a worthwhile endeavor because there is no debate. There is no debate between over whether or not evolution is true. It is. It goes without saying. Everybody that's in the field that does this stuff, that the people that don't actually believe in evolution are such a small ideological driven minority that they're not even they're not even on the radar for any real scientists because you have these ID proponents that are just arguing over, trying to make these arguments. It's like, well, therefore everything's designed. Real scientists are just doing science. They're the guys that are out there that are actually, looking into, the things that we can learn through evolution, whether it's through things like vaccinations, like with guys like Doc Savage, or um, the, the point is that the reason why you're not going to get a lot of people on to argue creation versus evolution is because there's no debate. There's just a group of fucking idiots out there that are just unwilling to acknowledge that this is so well established that it's I don't know. It just hurts my head to think about it.
No,
Really.
yeah, but you're right. When was the last time, honestly, someone correct me if I'm wrong, when was the last time True Empiricism had an organized debate on his channel that was outside of someone from this community?
That's a good question.
When did it happen?
I
Never.
can't. Pff.
He talked to Ned. He talked to Ned, and then he got on the non sequitur show. Oh, dude, I don't even know if I want to talk about what happened on the non sequitur show because I don't know if
With Saeed.
Drag. You know what happened in well, you know what happened with with Mel, and I don't want to say
Yeah.
anything that's not public already.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, so there's shit like that I want to mention, but it's like that's even fucked up. So like, I don't take him seriously. Oh, hi, Drag. Hey, how you do? Boo boo. Where are you dragging him off to? Huh? I see you,
My.
sexy ass.
Yeah. My base. Yeah. Follow me.
Hmm. Yep. All right. Cool. I might as well learn how to get to your base from here.
But
You know,
yeah. It.
he doesn't have these structured debates. He doesn't even have discussions with people that weren't reached out to by individuals in this community first. Because people are going to go to his channel. Let's say he manages to email somebody and he gets a response. They're going to go to his channel. They're going to check him out. They're going to go to his channel. They're going to see that he doesn't post content that stays up there for very long. Or they're going to see that the last time he posted content was 2 months ago, and it was a snippet of a Matt Dillahunty atheist experience debate that for some reason he added like 5 seconds of commentary, but the rest is just the clip in and of itself. I think I realized this guy doesn't do anything. This guy doesn't produce anything. This guy doesn't say anything that's novel or interesting or,
Or no
God
shit.
forbid, even a fucking argument. God forbid, even a fucking argument. Oh, jeez.
Just follow
Oh,
me.
hey,
Just.
hi.
Yeah. Just ignore him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh.
That.
They're of a certain size, aren't they? Huh?
Oh yeah.
Big bitches over there.
I'm trying to understand what exactly is or maybe I'm looking at this from the wrong perspective because I actually have access to be able to teach people. Like that is within my purview. I was actually paid. That's kind of what tutoring is. You're actually paid to instruct people in a particular field. Now, none of these guys have that type of access because, well, there's no fucking university or college or institution that's actually that dumb that would pay them for that. So they're here thinking that, well, someone may by chance, some young adult, some kid specifically, is going to run across a YouTube channel and be equipped to combat evolution as it's taught in schools. Well, there's a few problems with that. As somebody, again, who is still going to school and who has been a tutor in said school, you want to know what actually happens when someone says some stupid shit like that? I shut them down. It has happened very rarely, but people who don't understand how we know that, common descent is a thing, who don't understand basic cell theory, it shows that it's not a mark of courage. I think that's the best way that I can depict their version of it. It's not someone's dared to question. It's like, no, we have a discussion on what they think is happening, and and like I said, this happens very rarely. But I have been in classrooms where people have tried to say, well, how do we know that? How do we know that we know that we know? Well, motherfucker, you evidently didn't pay attention to the last fucking section we just covered when we went over basic cell theory, when we went over the different characteristics of eukaryotes versus prokaryotes, and when we went over the genetics of both groups. So it's not an issue of, teach the controversy. It's, bitch, pay attention, because evidently you ain't learning what everybody else in the fucking class had to learn. So because these dudes have never actually, like the CCP, they've never actually stepped foot in my classrooms. When I say my classrooms, actual like college classes of biology, molecular genetics, organic chemistry, tissue culture. They've never actually been in these classrooms, so they have to pretend. They'll hypothesize about these scenarios that they can set up, but this shit doesn't go down like that. And then if you tell them, it's like, dude, what you think happens doesn't happen, they get all uppity for whatever reason. And it's like,
Drag,
hey,
also, I broke an item. You need to repair it.
oh God, put it in the blacksmith table. You fix
It's
it.
right there on the floor. You got this. It's right
It's
there.
on the floor.
Not in that bag. In this little bag over here.
Oh,
Little,
you just
little teeny
dropping
bag.
shit.
Little micro bag. It's right there. It's right here.
Oh my God, really? Hey, go look upstairs and go take that pole arm from my guard in my bedroom. I fixed this.
Okay.
But I think it's funny about what they think happens if they actually wanted to make. And here, actually, here's the keys to the fucking safe. If they actually wanted to make a change, they would themselves get a fucking actual education, not watch YouTube videos, not pretend to read books that aren't even relevant to the fucking topic. Actually get an education. Get in a position to where you can actually teach somebody, and hell, maybe they could possibly be as good as me and become a tutor. Hell, even better than me, become a TA, so that you can be put in a position to really teach someone. I'm just saying, like, if you guys are as good as you say you are, and you're as knowledgeable, and you want to actually have influence, well, what better place than a place of learning? I mean, that's what makes sense to me.
They don't get it. Like, this is the thing that it's so blatantly fucking obvious, but for some reason it's beyond their ability to comprehend, right? And I'm specifically talking to Turin Pearson and how he likes to waggle his own dick around, right? So if he's somehow a threat, why aren't people like Ken Ham, or I don't know, some other prominent ID proponent? I don't know who's prominent anymore. The fucking thing is dying off so fast. Other prominent proponents reaching out to him to try to get him on board.
Right.
People from his own camp, not evolutionists, whatever. People from his own camp.
That's
Nobody. No goes to true empiricism or is interested in anything true empiricism has to say and goes, yeah, that guy knows his shit. Nobody. You instances. And not only that, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, who outside of this community pay attention to any of these people?
Their moms?
Really?
Can you hear me right now? Or am I broken up?
No, Sokka. No.
Okay. One of the things we were kind of talking about yesterday was that, first off, that these guys don't have their own unique audience. Drag, Shrew, G-Man, we share an audience. Everybody here shares an audience, within this community. Um, and I mean, even to the people that like maybe the half dozen or so people that support G-Man, um, they're still over here watching Dreg's videos, trolling the chat, you know. So yes, like there is no, they're not going off to a higher audience or a different audience than that's already established here. But this is the other thing too, is this idea that somehow they're they have influence beyond this, and that's the
Yeah.
weird one, because I don't see how they could even see that. There is no influence beyond them, and they think that people agree with them. They don't. These guys are just a group of a couple of
Ha-
loudmouths
half-wits.
that just they're here. I mean, I don't know.
Like, it's baffling, isn't it? It's like, what do you actually think
It
that you're?
really is.
So I would love instead of a video, oh, Dragnot's such a meanie head. Oh, he says bad words. Oh my God, my vagina hurts. Oh God, instead of making a bunch of videos like that and getting together and sucking each other off, make a video. Here is what I do in real life to actually put forth my position, because I can tell you right now that as someone who is being in like actual academia, I have an influence over my peers, and people like see me like interact with my peers when I'm in the lab. People stop and they ask me questions about lab protocols. So if I was irrelevant, people would just fucking ignore me. And there's a few times you'll catch me asking uh, some of my peers, hey, I got this right? So I know that that's an acknowledgement. That is a tacit acknowledgement that I know something and they know something. So, but you don't see that with these guys. Who in I guess in real life is going to G-Man for like information on biology, other than like a niece or a nephew who don't know any better? But like, what adult in their right mind says that this fucking dude living in his sister's attic, who doesn't even have a fucking education, who can't write and is functionally illiterate, who is going to him going, you know what, I want to learn about biology?
Well, the other thing too is like that. Yeah, what does he do? Does he make videos presenting any type of, air quotes, science for any of the positions that he puts forward, that he espouses online? He doesn't. What he does is he'll sit there and he'll Google search on YouTube for something like, chemotherapy fake, or
Evolution false.
evolution false, or cancer natural cure. And the videos that pop up, he doesn't even screen them. Like, he puts them on, and he'll start listening through them, and occasionally he'll pause them and be like, yeah, you see what he's saying right there? That's right.
I agree
Carry
with
on.
that.
Start the video again. They're like, oh, I agree with that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, because he hasn't actually reviewed the video, they start talking about marijuana. He's like, well, I'm not sure if I'm totally on board with that.
I don't like the way that it makes people think, it messes with your thinking. So I don't necessarily agree with that one.
Yeah, so we're not. I'm sure that's a good point. But I mean, everything else this guy said, fucking right on. Yeah. Like, but that's what he does. Like, does he think that that's meaningful content? Does he think that that what he's doing, that he's actually making a difference there by by just playing this video there? But here's the thing, because the G-Man will probably try to jump on a point like that. He's like, whoa, hold on a second, they're criticizing me for just playing a video, and but yet you have Dragnot over there that just plays through my videos. He's like, yes, and here's the difference, because know that this is how he thinks. When Dragnot or anybody is reviewing one of your videos, they're pointing out why you're wrong. They'll talk about it. They'll stop it. They'll be like, okay, you see what he said there? It's bullshit. Here's why. Here's all the reasons for this. Here's that he has gotten wrong within this statement. And then just for good measure, they'll throw in a couple comments too, like, you're a fucking idiot or whatever. But hey, that's just personal flavor, right? When he's reviewing these videos, the best that he's doing is just basically saying, Yeah. You see, right there, video says it. Natural things are good. Oh, you're
Yeah.
back.
He's looking for people to affirm what he believes. He's not actually looking for an explanation or a mechanism. I'll give you a perfect example of what Sokka's talking about. When Jackass was talking about antioxidants, I mentioned to folks that, I would love him to explain how he thinks oxidation works, because there, those of us, like I said, who actually have an education, can explain to you very briefly what oxidation is. And I'm not going to actually say it because I want him to explain it, because I've noticed that he tends to pick up on things that I say. So I'm going to drop him hints to see if he picks up on the hints. But I talked about antioxidant stress. Now, again, that should have been a big hint of something he should look into and something that he neglected. You don't just load up on antioxidants thinking that that's the healthiest thing in the world to fucking do. No. There's a reason you need free radicals in your body, and there's a reason they exist in the first place. But he's not going to actually do any research and go, well, I agree with this guy, but I don't agree with him, because I don't agree because Bible. No, that doesn't work with science, jackass. That's this. You wonder why people call you an idiot is because you say idiotic things and you do idiotic things. Anyone can sit and play someone else's content. Speaking of folks who don't actually produce anything, you can play someone else's content and suck them off for the next hour and a half, but that doesn't actually show that you know anything. Literally anyone can get in front of a camera and do that. Congratulations. But for some reason, he's convinced himself that he's doing something novel and that he's actually presenting something that I guess that is supposed to be influential. Maybe for his audience, they're impressed by that. That's something that is highbrow and I guess efficacious towards whatever their goals is. I don't know, but I guarantee you that the people themselves could probably articulate those points without having G-Man stumble over himself for the next, hour or however long it takes him to make dick sucking noises over their videos. Hannah, did you ever get back? Oh, she must have had some GI issues. We're talking about her boy again. Her man love, true. His silky hair that smells like an oil spill. Uh oh. Uh oh.
What's up?
No, I was saying that fucking Hannah had to go shit again because we started talking about her man.
Oh.
Gary. Oh, I didn't even think about that. We start calling Gary Potter. I'm gonna start doing that. That's awesome. G-Man, you've been nicknamed now Gary Potter. Thank you, Bold Piss.
But like, there is a point though with that. I think that these guys are wrong though, and in the sense that they think that there's nothing that can be accomplished by talking to people within this community, um, and I think that that's where they're wrong. I think that the problem is it all stems from the fact that there is very little engagement in this community in the sense of like the live hangouts anymore, um, and like, especially for things like truth is like bring it evolutionists or block it evolutionists as they call it, they'll put out there. Um, like that's a good venue, but it's just that it's so I'm not sure why he still calls it that because there's very few people or evolutionists that he actually like lets into the room anymore. But I guess maybe on top of that is why is I've never really understood why that's such a draw. Like for him, it's like that's like the main thing. Like, this is the great debate community, but they bring up these science points all the time, like arguing things like evolution. Um, you know, even if you were to show that evolution was wrong, it doesn't necessarily validate any type of intelligent design argument that's put out there. So if you're in a theological community talking about like reasons for believing in a God, like why is evolution this thing that that these guys have grounded their faith in against, and you know like G-Man doesn't know what evolution is, okay? we've having these conversations with him for years, and like even listening to him talk to like Aaron Raw, like on the uh, Elephants and Pine Cones after show, which from the Non Sequitur show, it's on the Great Debate Community Challenge. I recommend everybody watch that because it's fucking hilarious. Again, um, but like even this guy has had evolution explained to him for 5 years, and he still can't get it right. And okay, fine, you can't get it right, but then again, who cares? Why is this a topic that you have to talk about all the time? You know, I don't, I don't know that much about evolution other than the basic, if somebody was asking me to explain what evolution is, I can probably do that. You know, um, even to the extent that I can at least differentiate between things like common ancestry and obviously how abiogenesis is completely different things, like those points. I can talk about the basic mechanisms that we believe are in play to influence these things, um, and where we can go to observe some of this phenomena. Um, and I can do that. I'm not going to argue the whole science of it, but I can basically give kind of a quick rundown of it. And therefore, I'm not going to go into conversations and just talk about evolution, because that's what I've just said there would exhaust the most of what I know about it. But the funny thing is that even if I was to go into conversation, that would still be more than anything that these guys know about the topic.
You're right. I mean, there
And
isn't
they want to
really
talk
much
about,
to it.
and they want to start bringing in even more complex stuff. They want to start talking about DNA and genetics and all this other stuff. And it's just like, well, hold on a second. Like, can we at least get to the establishment of, what the consensus within science is about what evolution actually is? And then we can go and maybe explore more stuff together. But I mean, you guys aren't even starting off on the right foot here.
Well, it's interesting because they acknowledge that there are some of us who are actually accomplished here academically. Like they know that they couldn't sit in any of our classes and actually understand what we're doing, right? But then when it comes to discussing these topics, all of a sudden, all the hard work that we put in, it goes away. Like it just dissipates because we can't, I guess, resist their what is the phrase they use? A style of argumentation. I say, well, if you are articulating a point terribly, you are absolutely fucking correct. We are not used to dealing with people who are so uneducated and so fucking stupid that we know how to respond to it immediately. They're honestly, when we have conversations about this off air, me, Doc Savage, Sam, all, like there's a fairly decent group of us that think that it's hilarious that these guys have elected themselves arbiters of someone's scientific knowledge, and they've done that because of the way that they feel whether or not they've been convinced by it. Now,
Yeah.
mind, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
that's such a great point. That's a great point. Is because the metric to which somebody succeeds in explaining evolution is that you convinced them. Like, if that is the case, then if the metric to whether or not these guys are good preachers of the gospel is by whether or not I believe them, well then they suck at their fucking jobs and they should probably think about doing something else. Okay, because the same thing we turned around on these guys, and yeah, the fact that they use it as a metric, and the funny thing is that when you get these guys in a conversation with people that actually understand the topic, you realize that very quickly, they will agree that evolution happens. They agree with evolution. G-Man has agreed that evolution happens in almost every single conversation he's ever had with somebody who's been arguing the point. What they don't agree isn't about evolution. It's about common descent. That's what they disagree with.
Right.
There's and that's and there's other arguments to go from there, but they sit there and be like, oh, evolution doesn't happen. Well, on every single model that these guys propose, evolution has to happen. They endorse it until they say things like, "Well, that you're talking about macroevolution. I'm only referring to microevolution."
Right.
They're the
And
same
so
fucking thing. Okay.
they don't actually know how to articulate the problem. And I figured this out because Beckel waffled on for about 30, 45 minutes, and it finally hit me that he and others don't actually know how to tell us exactly what they don't know because they're so uneducated. And I mean, it sounds like I'm just shitting on them, and that is partially true, but it is an issue where I could tell you when I'm talking about calculus, I don't know all the correct terms to fucking use because that's not my fucking field. I don't memorize the stuff like I remember in biology. I'm fairly careful about me being very accurate in biology as opposed to mathematics. So when I'm telling somebody, hey, I'm not sure I'm looking for this vertice here, or this vertex here, and say, no, 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 that's not a vertex. Just because there's it looks like there's a dip right there. That's not an actual vertex. There's a definition for that. So it takes a bit of work for them to understand what I'm referring to if we're both looking at a graph. But for these guys, they don't understand exactly what we're talking about when we draw these conclusions. What they actually have a problem with is the fact that we draw inferences from things such as cell theory, and we come to conclusions that tie in with common descent. So how we group things, such as putting things into, I don't know, clades, using a criteria, that's something that they don't agree with because you can put anything into any group, which is true. But if we have sets of observations, if we've made certain predictions and we found things based on those predictions, it's a pretty reliable fucking metric that we've established. And that's not something that they really get. They don't understand and fully appreciate the enterprise of scientific discovery because you have to draw inferences as a part of legitimate fucking science.
And also, they're fucking stupid and dishonest.
That's true.
Like again, I don't have a problem with people who don't know what they're talking about. Like, it happens to all of us. Sometimes we're convinced of... that happens to me more often than not. Where it's like, oh, I believe that divine simplicity entails X, Y, or Z, or, A theory of time is this over B theory of time. And people are like, oh, no, 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 you got that backwards or something, right? You mix the two up. Okay, that's fine. My bad. I was very confident in what I said, but I was wrong, and I'll take that correction and, try to remember that for the future. That's great. No problems there. It's then the people who are like, you know what? Fuck, I really have no idea what I'm talking about. Does this guy know what he's talking about? No. I bet you my bottom fucking last paycheck, which is enough for me to have a feast at Popeyes, that I could convince this idiot that I know what I'm talking about. Lo and behold, true empiricism. That's the shit that pisses me off. He knows. Like, he's admitted to it, like, so many times during so many of his goddamn removed hangouts where he's basically saying, yeah, I know what I'm talking about because, look, it just looks designed, and that's why everybody comes to me, because I can tell you how much it looks designed. Right? And where do you go from there? Where's the argument there?
Where's step two?
Step two, right? Like, that's going to be the forever meme in reference to true empiricism. What's step two? Okay, it looks designed, and? But it's not even that. What's the argument? What's the argument, right? Because you tried to, I remember one time, way back in the day, I'm like, okay, there's something called teleologic and teleonomic design, right? So are you confusing the two, or are you're trying to make some sort of, distinction that I'm not quite seeing? Like what, some other significant distinction that I'm not quite seeing. The boy had no idea what I was talking about. It's like, well, we both agree that an eye is designed to see things, right? Like that's its function. It's to grant you the beautiful, ability to see, right? Okay, great. Guess what? That's teleonomic design. That's something that emerged naturally, right? Of course, an eye is designed to see, like the ray comfort. Oh, look at the eye, man. It's beautiful. You almost have perfect vision. Well, a hawk has even better vision. Why? Because a hawk is, evolutionarily designed to be able to see at further distances because of the flight patterns that they take. They're so high in the air, they need to see better, just so they can spot prey at a much wider, distance. Okay, so we all agree that eyes are made to see. So now what is your argument? Well, everybody agrees that every design needs a designer. That's what all science believes. Okay, well now T says this, that it's not an argument in science that every design needs a designer.
I said, where do they do that at?
Yeah, like where where's the citation? I'm gonna need a citation for that, bruv. Like, where the fuck, where did you come up with that? Every scientist is telling you this evolved through natural processes, right? That the limb or the fingers or a thumb especially is designed for enhanced gripping. Right, it's designed through genetics or through natural processes that over time the thumb became more and more efficient to grip things. So that's how Drag can beat off to listening to G-Man, like he needs to be able to grip that thing, as tightly as possible and go at it, right? Great, we can all agree to that. But now you're starting to confuse teleologic with teleonomic, right? Because we know as Hogtie and so many Ozymandias have put it before, the signs of manufacture, right? That's a big thing. What we know the signs of manufacture. We can identify blueprints, human draw blueprints on AutoCAD or something. So we know that this what the fuck is in my hand? This step stool was designed because I can find right now the brand, I can find the label, I could find the warning, I could find the company Sterilites, I can find warning signs, the little symbols indicating what plastic content it's made. So there are certain signs that we can look at the stool and say, yeah, so we know that this was made by Sterilite. And Sterilite, this is the CEO of Sterilite, these are the people who worked on this particular product. We can go down to the very instance that these resources were gathered to make the step stool. We can tell you step by step how the step stool is made. So he's then conflating that with, well, evolution happens, but you can't say that it's not ID because ID would make the same predictions as evolution. But remember, it's a design. So in the same way that the step stool is designed, there has to be some sort of designer, but he can't articulate how that process happens.
But here's the thing: is like what he likes to say is that it's an abductive argument. Okay, that he's using abductive reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking a look at an observation. Okay. And then he's concluding that ID is has the best predictive kind of value or is the best conclusion that you can draw from this. And he tries to say that this is like you said, this is like you take a look at the teleologic here is that everything appears to be designed, or it's even better. Sorry, let's go back to just something simple like the mechanisms inside the cell. He'll say something like the mechanism inside the cell, has these indications that they're like machinery. Therefore, the best answers that they're designed, just like every other thing that we have, because our inference to the best possible solution here is that a mind is always required for this, or however he puts it. But the problem is that the argument is not good, in the sense that
says you.
It says me.
Stupid evolutionist.
Every single time that we have observed something, and this is actually a point that I think Fiona had brought up years ago, but it's that every single time that we have seen something designed, it has always been the result of a mind, and it has been assembled by some type of material means, like it's had hands. So then you see something that appears to be designed. Well, the best possible solution for that is that it is the result of a mind that has been assembled by some type of physical form. That there has to be a physical form in there, because that has just as much strength that goes around the first premise. The first premise is that it was designed by a mind. Okay? Or that's the first kind of like clue that they're drawing from this, is that it's been designed by a mind of some sort. But it's also been assembled. And if you go for you make the same type of abductive reasoning over how something can be assembled, well, in everything that we see that's been designed has always been assembled by some type of natural means, some type of physical form. So yeah, he can use an abductive argument all day, saying that that this stuff was designed by a mind, but it was always assembled by a physical form. Because those points are equally supported. And if you're going to make the argument that it's designed by a mind, it also implies that it's been assembled by a physical form, using exactly the same reasoning that he's putting forward there.
But that's what I tried asking him before. Like, so So where during this process in nature, so we're all observing the same cells going through cell division and all this stuff. At what point is it designed in the cell, something's outside of the cell itself is interfering and saying that this cell needs to do something? Where is it assembling the process or the design, the blueprint in which the cell is going to go and do these complex things in the mitochondria or whatever, where do we see that happening? Where's the point to where the designer interferes? Don't even ask me what the designer is and all this other shit. He's obviously going to make a religious, concession there. But just show me where in that process is the intervention.
Magic, bitch.
He doesn't say anything. He just goes, it just does it. Well, right, it just does it. I can see that it does it on its own, right? I can agree with you there. But you're saying that this is designed in such a way that it does these things, right? Okay. If we're still making the same argument that, as a mind, we know through abductive reasoning that a mind designs things, and we need some sort of physical means to assemble those things that are designed, well, then I need to understand at what stage would I expect the designer to interfere with a natural process to guide it to do what it is you're talking about.
And how? I mean, like, what's the mechanism? So this is the thing, is that this entire argument is not the best the method to come about. It's not the best conclusion that you can draw from this, because it makes many. I think this is. I might be correct on this, but I think it takes more metaphysical assumptions, or a stronger metaphysical assumption to come to that conclusion than it would for somebody that would be start with a position like naturalism, because I think that you can conclude naturalism would be the case easily by looking at the observable evidence. That you trace this back, is that you're in the sense that this appears to be a natural process. If we take a look at just us and how we function now, it's clearly natural. The way that our cells and everything works, like there's no supernatural interference that we can see, like you said, like cells grow, replicate, die, whatever. That shit happens on its own, and it seems to be all natural. Okay, so we follow that back, and you can say that okay, well, it stems from more natural type stuff. That the solution to this, it seems more likely the case will be natural as well. But then when you're going with his argument, where you take all these things that you can observe that are happening naturally, and then you get to the end, and then you have to posit supernatural. Well, that's not the simplest solution anymore, because now you have to make what I would think would be a huger step in a metaphysical assumption to draw that conclusion. So the abductive reasoning should only lead you to natural processes. That would be the best prediction that you can come
because science, because just like you said, science is assuming methodological naturalism, right? Like some way that we can trace back and identify through evidence what's happening, what's occurring in nature, right? So by definitionally supernatural, okay, so that's something that we not necessarily can measure through conventional means, right? Through our understanding of science and the natural world. Okay, how do you make that step and then say that all science agrees it's that way? It defines the very use of science. It goes outside of the very field we're talking about. So then what the fuck, you're assuming that that's the case, and if you want to make that argument, like, listen, I think it makes more sense this way, and you want to provide an argument, that's fine. But he goes a step further. He's like, no, everybody agrees with me. Every scientist agrees it has to be designed by a designer. And since we can't see what the designer is, or there's some sort of intervention that we can't see, that it has to be by a supernatural means. Well, where's the paper on that?
Yeah, well, that's like I said. Well, that's the metaphysical assumption that he has to bring in. This stuff has to be shaped by, like I said, to get to the end of a natural line. Okay, following something back where I don't think anybody would disagree that this appears all to be operating naturally, without any type of supernatural interference, and then to say that okay, if we follow this back, far enough. Oh, hey, we're just going to put supernatural interference right there. There's going to be supernatural interacting with the natural. And we don't know how this happens. We have no explanation in how supernatural can have any type of causal effect with the natural. So we're just going to, but whatever, we're just going to say that this is almost the case. That has just as much evidence to say that there are tiny invisible pixies, tiny invisible supernatural
Of course.
transcendent pixies that are, operating every single function in our body as if it's like a giant machine. Now, we don't know how they
Hmm.
do it. We can't see it. We can't test it. But you know what? That is just as much validity as saying that, trying to posit something at the end of the line as well. I mean, because at any point in time, if you're just going to be like supernatural, we don't know how it, how the mechanisms of how it interacts with everything, but we know that it has to be there. Okay, that is just the same thing as saying, well, there's supernatural things happening inside of our body right now. We don't know the mechanics of how it's actually working or interacting, but we know it's there. Those statements have just as much support, and they make just as many assumptions.
Hmm.
Compared to something that would just be like, well, hey, this appears to be natural. We're following this back, and we can follow that back down through natural means. That we see that
Exactly.
the, living organisms are plastic to their environment, and there seems to be, some type of, when there's a change in the low frequencies, that we see, the their life diversify in these different ways depending on environment and all these other factors that we have, or whatever.
But he doesn't. But this is the weirdest part about it because let's say he does posit that at some point there's some sort of supernatural intervention, right? And we can observe from the moment the cell divides forward, right? And we can see that it's all no, it's clearly doing this on its own. It's doing its own thing. Okay, we understand that process. It's well documented, and there's a lot of other things that are happening that we don't necessarily know yet, but we're working on it, right? I would think, and I could be totally wrong on this, so Sokka, feel free to disagree. But I would think at some point he'd have to say, well, maybe the supernatural, just to make more sense, the supernatural intervention would be sometime before the cell, so like abiogenesis or something, just to make more sense. Because if we can already see the process in
It
which
doesn't, but that's the thing is that it doesn't make more sense to have to pause the supernatural. It makes, like I said,
it
even if you're going like that, it makes just as much sense to pause a supernatural entity there as it would just to say there's a supernatural entities working within us right now. Those statements are equally supported.
no, of course,
There's
but I'm saying like
just as much
if
evidence
he
for one or
wanted
the other.
to go more into the gray zone, let's say, and not just be flat out stupidly wrong, but he wanted to entertain more of a gray zone where, like abiogenesis is the leading hypothesis, but we don't have, we don't have like a really, solid idea yet what's going on. We have different things that we're playing around with, right? So for him, it would make more sense to play in that gray zone than to just say demonstrably stupid shit, right? Because at that point, like just like he usually does when he wiggles out of, defining his terms in the scientific field, and he's saying he's using a more colloquial definition, or, he gets out of what he really means by changing what he says and all this other shit. If he wanted to nip that in the bud ahead of time and sound more intelligent and at least make something that is somewhat even resembling sense, he would want to play in that gray zone. You see what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, the more ambiguous you make your statements, I mean, the harder it is
Yeah,
to
exactly.
nail you down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He would want. I would imagine that he would want to be in more ambiguous zone, just so that anytime we do try to expose how retarded he is, he would say, "Listen, what are you talking about? Do you know the mechanisms by which life comes from non-life? No, then get the fuck out." Like, d- he could worm out of it a lot easier than he would be by making these definitively wrong statements. Like,
Y'all are being exceptionally too mean to true empiricism. The man, look. He cannot help the way he is, all right? It's not his fault that both his parents are first cousins, okay? He's working with
no, he
what he
can't.
has available.
Listen, he's the first generation of mole people to emerge and interact with surface dwellers. I understand he doesn't quite understand common parlance yet, but some motherfucker down there better have understood what a goddamn textbook would be and taught this motherfucker how to read. I would think that at least some mole people are at least literate, but apparently not. Look at this first generation asshole making his ancestors fucking sad. Stupid bitch. I'm sorry, was that overly mean? Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't get me started on tropism. I get
No, continue.
unnecessarily aggressive.
No, continue. I
Ugh.
it makes my pee pee hard.
Like,
Yeah.
I hate when they make stupid general statements that are borderline. If you, this is segueing from the conversation we just had, Sokka, but yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Uh, this is segueing, but you know how they always make these statements like, "Oh, that's just how these atheists are," right? Shit like that. And true empiricism is falling in line with that kind of rhetoric too. You know, if you interject, that's how all black people are. That's how all Native Americans are. That's how all Latinos are. That's how all Muslims are. That's a pretty hateful speech right there, right? That's a pretty ignorant statements to make.
Well, Veckel
But
would
it's
actually
okay if
agree
they.
if you said all black people, Veckel would actually agree with that. But most normal people, would get your point.
Right. But if you were to say, like, most black people, most Muslims, most this, most that, it's like, wow, that's a very ignorant statement, and that's generalizing an entirely diverse group of people, and that's borderline prejudice, right? Yeah, that's totally okay to do for atheists. By the way, they define atheists as all non-theists, so I'm an atheist even though I'm not. So you done fucked up in that regard. But on top of that, it's just you can make these stupid, ignorant ass statements, and somehow magically it's okay for you to say because you're saying atheist. But the moment that I bring up, you can say, "Oh, black people this." Oh, all of a sudden because Veckel and Antonio and J-Man are black, you can't say that. And oh, Native Americans, all Native Americans are ignorant or whatever. Or all Native Americans do fucked up shit. Oh, you can't say that because True's gonna take offense to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, God, they are hateful in their speech, and they don't want to admit it just because, well, it's atheists, right? Just another arbitrary group of people that they could all
Subjective.
bulk together. Yeah, it's all subjective and arbitrary anyway, right? So, just another group that they
Subjective,
can
arbitrary, subjective.
marginalize. Sorry, Saka, what?
Subjective, arbitrary, subjective.
Yeah,
Just
just
arbitrary.
another
Well,
group that they can marginalize just because. But next time, seriously, next time they say that in their hangouts, whether it's True, Veckel, G-Man, whatever, just say inject racist stereotype here.
oh yeah, someone
Watch
mentioned
them
it.
lose their shit.
I did watch most of the Von Helton video where G-Man, you need to, yeah, what they're doing to G-Man is a hate crime. Well, it's not really, but if I was G-Man, I would say it's a hate crime and get those motherfuckers to get hauled off to jail. And when you get before that judge, they're gonna do an investigation. They're gonna find out what's really going on. It's like so lie, say it's a hate crime, even though the primary antagonist is someone who shares his same skin affliction. But then once the real investigation happens, then that's when the facts are going to come out. But the court's going to be happy that you lied to them initially.
Mm.
I
It makes no
mean,
fucking
in all
sense.
fairness, it's
It is Von
Von
Helton.
Helton.
Yeah.
I'm sure he hasn't looked into this. Like he probably just saw a video like on G-Man's channel. Internet trolls get me fired. Well, hell, I'm gonna make a
Mm.
video about this.
I love how he prefaces it. If you look at G-Man, he's not a white boy. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Did he really just say
Yeah,
that?
he really?
Yes. He really
No.
yes.
I'm
No,
surprised he didn't
come
start
on.
off with Yeah, now you see here my colored friend. He's
That's really what it was akin to. I was like, wow, he really went there. And so I'm like, you know what? He's made good friends with Veckel, man, saying that kind of shit. But my goodness, damn, G man.
All right. You can say whatever statements you want so long as it's prefaced by these atheists always do X. But the
Yeah.
moment you mention black people, oh no, everybody, scoot over. We're about to get in some serious, fucking socioeconomic talks here. Let's do it. Now that's
Holy
racist as
shit.
hell.
Well,
Holy
I
shit.
like I was thinking about this is that if you I think it was Steve McRae did this with G-Man. I think it was one of their earlier interactions where like G-Man goes nuclear or something like that. But it was they're having a discussion, and he kept on saying things like just like, so you believe that the dog will become a non-dog in a million years? And Steve kept on saying like, no, I believe a dog will be dead probably in 20. He's like, no, but you're saying, but evolution says that a dog will become something that's not a dog in a million years. He's like, well, how many dogs do you know that live a million years? He's like, that's all what I'm talking about, Steve. It's just like, yeah, but I'm trying to illustrate a point, is that a dog doesn't change. A dog will give birth to another dog, but we're talking about the rate of change among a population. You understand that? Like, so do you think that a dog will ever give birth to something that's not a dog? He's just like, well, that's what evolution says. Well, I mean, no, it's not. Evolution says that something will always give birth to what it is. But the thing is that what it is can have small anatomical changes over a long period of time throughout several among the population. Um, so I mean, again, do you think that a dog will give birth to something that's not a dog? He's like, well, no. Okay, and then like flash forward like 30 minutes into the conversation, when G-Man, he's agreed now that dogs will never give birth to anything that's not a dog. And then, I think they're asking him for evidence. It's like, okay, well, you say we have no evidence. What type of evidence would you require for you to believe that, to show you that evolution was true? He's like, well, you have to show me a dog become a non-dog.
Goes right back to it. Yeah. Yeah, but and this is a fun trick. If y'all ever, because he'll get his panties out of his ass, and he'll go back to talking to people like he normally does. Get him at the very beginning to agree to something just like that, but do it purposefully. All right, and then just continue with the conversation and go back to it verbatim. You can write it down. He will change it every single time, and I've done it to him. And he, like, if you go back and watch not our last engagement when I was on there because I didn't want to do it then, but the engagements I had on his channel before then, especially the one where we were talking about GMOs. That's a good one because I fuck with him, and I ask him to define his terms and shit like that, and we both get an agreement, and he goes right back to it, and I go around like 3 times, and he has no idea. Each time he does it, he resets. Like you can see the moment it resets in his head, and it's like, I could have sworn we said that. No, I didn't. You said that. I said, well, gee, man, I could have sworn you were the one who brought it up. No, I didn't. He gets frustrated because he knows that he's forgotten something, but he can't remember what. And now I brought it up, so he doesn't remember what he originally said. He knows I'm going to call him on it, so he starts getting pissed off. And man, it's really fun to do. It is incredibly fun to do.
That's the saddest shit, though. That's really the saddest shit.
It is sad. It's like I'm keeping him to his word, what he said, and he can't remember what he said. Rather than saying, you know what, I forgot, my bad. Let's go over it one more time. He's not gonna do that because he's so it's so funny how a guy with such a low level of intellect has such a fucking ego on him. He's such a fucking narcissist that he cannot, for the life of him, say that, you know what, I forgot or I messed up in the moment. So I capitalize on that shit every single time because I know I can put him in that position.
Well, the
What
thing
it is,
I think
though,
he's got a
is
memory.
that
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
one of the things, one of the reasons why I think that they don't actually want atheists inside their hangouts anymore is because it's really hard to strawman somebody when they're actually there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
when it comes time to actually show like the argument that someone's putting forward or like why you agree or disagree or whatever, you'll hear them say this all the time. So it's like, well, atheists believe this, atheists say this, you know, and but if there was an atheist in the room, they might be there to say, well, that's not actually correct. Let me explain why. But they don't want that. And you see that because on the rare occasion that they actually get somebody in the room and you say, well, you know what, I don't think it's a fair representation of my view, they will talk over and interrupt and like misrepresent everything and try to twist it around, and it's just so telling.
And it's stupid. The thing that really makes it like blatantly obvious is like in all of the discussions we've had over the years, what's really changed about their arguments?
Nothing.
When it's ID, but when it's regard to ID or morality, which is a thing now, or their understanding of why evolution doesn't happen, what really has changed?
I really don't
Did
see
they
it.
learn anything?
No, they haven't, and it's, you know what? I don't expect people to progress as much as others. Like there's no way that I would hold Nephilim free, or any of these cats to like my standard of learning because each year I want to progress, I want to grow. Every single year I want to say I was better than I was last year. Some of these guys have actually gotten worse, but what they've learned to do instead, they learn to try and evade questions a bit better. They've learned not to fall into traps. They've learned the environment and the landscape a bit better. That's about it. But they haven't actually learned more about any of these topics, whether it be science, philosophy, or religion. And it shows. And it shows by their unwillingness to actually engage in civil discourse that they aren't really interested in conversation, except save for a few. I will say that my conversation with Antonio was somewhat productive, and I did gain a bit from that. But that's on the rare occasion that someone actually gets the gall to say, "Hey, Drag, I actually want to talk about something." So it's
Yeah, I
it
mean,
you know
it has to do with the well, here's the other thing too. This is like G-Man is terrible for this, and True sometimes is, sometimes not. It's hit or miss. Like and that is that when they go into a room, they're going into a fight. They're
mm,
going into fight. They're going into to win. I am going to win this discussion. I will cordial the fuck out of this thing. You know, and they uh, and you see, regardless of what the topic is, they're going to go into what it is. I mean, even if you go back and you watch like the like even like some of the older GTV stuff, which I think he's probably taken off, which had people in there that talked about like things like Star Wars. You can still see. I mean, he's not as angry, but he still wants to show that he knows what he's talking about, and
still
he's right and all this
combative.
other stuff. Yeah, but yeah, that's what it is. But he's combative. Now, Antonio wasn't combative in the hangout that you had with him. When I've talked to Antonio, he's never combative. It's just like, hey, let's hear each other out. Let's talk about stuff. And even if you disagree with the guy, like, it's not his case. True, I think is like that sometimes, except for when he does the Bring It evolution videos. I mean, for fuck's sakes, the video is called Bring It. Of course it's going to be antagonistic. You know, so
Yeah, I
they,
mean, it
I think
depends when
that,
you catch him, but it's True has his triggers. If you disagree with him publicly, that's one of his main triggers. It doesn't matter whether it's cordial. And I think we actually talked about this a little bit yesterday in Hogtie's hangout. Is that anytime it's not, and I won't even call it correction. Anytime you say, "Hey, I thought it was this," or I thought that was called this, or might have misused a term. You just want to clarify that this is what you mean. He gets mad, like he really gets upset, and I think that it has something wrong in his head that has to do with his security as an adult and his knowledge,
Oh,
and
you want to
it
know what's another
shows.
trigger?
What's that?
Have a vagina.
Yeah, I don't know what it is he has against women. I'm thinking like I think his mom used to beat the fuck out of him. I'm not even gonna lie. I think his mom like abused the dog shit out of him as a kid, and I think he just has
Uh,
that like mommy hate kind of that residual mommy hate left over.
Honestly, I think it's more simple than that. I think his girlfriend doesn't make as good of a sandwich as I do, so he's just fucking mad jealous all the time. He's
Oh,
actually sincerely asking me to make him a sandwich, and I won't give him the satisfaction. So he gets a little triggered.
well, that might be it. You know,
I make bomb ass
um,
sandwiches, let me tell you.
I'm,
um,
I'm sure you do.
Slavic
I've noticed
sandwiches.
that I've noticed that a lot more is um, I mean, you've always had this kind of this idea that depending on your interpretation of the Bible, it could be seen like there's a lot of very misogynistic things within it, and I think that that's like nobody really argues that, but I think like it's kind of not really a big issue that much anymore. Um, but what I've noticed with these guys as of late is that the level of like just open like rampant sexism
Oh yeah.
is it seems to have gotten a lot worse
Mm-hmm.
than what it used. And then their justifications for it, like they're actually like, trying to justify it, and I think that um, maybe I don't know, like they got some of that like right wing, far right attitude, rubbing off on them or something. I don't know, easily influenced or something. But I
There's
mean,
definitely a strong
hey,
thread of that among them, though. They all do share that really. It's not even like, hey, I'm kind of fiscal conservative, small government kind of. It's like really, really right-leaning social, uh, pro-life kind of positions that are interestingly enough, none of them will actually procreate other than Vekel for some sad reason. But other than that, it's I find that interesting.
yeah, I'm just constantly surprised at just how um, just how big assholes they are when it comes to to women. Like, did you hear like the video to Miss Star there? And just like, listen here, honey, let me tell you something sweet.
Dear.
Like dear, like doing that all the time. Like, it's gross. Like,
It's fucking unnerving. That's what it is. It's just like you are really going out of your way to say those words, and it's just
It's not
it's telling.
it's not a surprise that some of these guys are single. Like, it's really not a surprise at all, because I wouldn't see any woman putting up with that. Like, I honestly,
Incel? What?
I mean, yeah, I know, right? And so, but it's like, could you imagine waking up next to G-Man? Ah, you dear, get up, give me a sandwich. How about you get up and fix your fucking hairline, you loser? Go get a goddamn job.
Speaking of which, bitch, where's my war axe?
Your war axe, I took it.
Bitch, I gave it to you to fix.
I did, and I'm using it. I'm on my way back.
Fuck! God, I'll fucking wait.
I'm on my way back. I had to go pick up something. Meet me at my blacksmith table. But
Meet me and shut the fuck up. Go ahead.
nope, now I'm keeping it. But no, it's really crazy, because like me and Mrs. Drag, like, we'll call each other derogatory names, and some of y'all have caught us, calling each other derogatory names. But it's like, I would never say, you know what, you're a bitch. That's that. Like, I don't actually call my wife a bitch, uh, like out of anger or out of spite or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah, it's
bitch.
in a joking context.
Yeah, it's like when she calls me a, like, bitch. Who are you? It's like kind of like that. But like, some of these dudes, like, you really have to question how they were raised. But then again, G-Man's told us he was raised by a dude who obviously could keep his dick in his pants, but Nation of Islam dude. And Mrs. Drag kind of told me what it was like, because she used to be like, with a guy like that. Like, he was full Muslim, and just the kind of like really misogynistic kind of nonsense, and the kind of like real insecure control issues. And you see that, like, you really see that come out in some of these dudes. And that I can't put myself in that position, because fortunately I am secure with myself and I don't have those issues. But it's weird to kind of picture them in these social situations where, well, actually, it's not weird, because we saw G-Man and he couldn't even pick up on a piece of pussy that was near him, which is kind of funny, given that how he's also bragged that he has to. I think I made a comment about it like a month or two ago, and he said, "Oh, yeah, how do you know I don't have girlfriends? Bitch, that video told me you don't have a girlfriend, because you didn't even pick up when she was trying to holler at you. So no, that told me you don't have a girlfriend, you dumb bitch." But yeah, I think it's funny how this shit works.
And also, yeah, I'm gonna beat you with a belt. That was, ha,
I was
that's
like,
good. Good
that's
shit.
you know
Good
they
shit.
had to tell him, like, back when he was in, because I got some funny stories. They had to tell him to stop saying shit like that to dudes, because he would say stuff like, "I'm dead fucking serious, dead fucking serious." Like, he would say shit like that, like, "I'm gonna bend him over, I'm gonna spank him." And so G-Con, you know how G-Con is. It's like, dude, you don't say that to a grown ass man, dog. What are you
Yeah,
doing? And
this sounds
G,
really bad,
because
dude.
G-Con's telling me this story.
especially because Gary's got that list. He's like, I want to bend him over my knee. You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna bend you over my knee.
it was like,
Shit.
he's like, I'm gonna put you over my knee, and I'm gonna give you a spanking.
"I'm gonna spank." And
Oh.
he has to do emotes. "I'm gonna spank him." It's like, really? Is that what you do to other dudes in your free time? Oh, oh.
Anus, Anus Prey Hunter, Pain Hunter. I know who that is now. I finally understood.
so the issue was and here's why they had to have that painful conversation. Of course, G-Man didn't listen, but so the Black Hebrew Israelites were making videos of good old fucking Gary Potter, and calling him G-Man. They were saying the G stands for gay man. So they were calling him gay man because of all the little like homo comments that he would make, and his little effeminate shit. And so evidently he was like going up to these dudes and patting them on the stomach like that, and doing all kind of
The
crazy
fuck?
shit. Yeah, yeah, he was. I don't know what. Like that was weird because I was like, I didn't see that video. Yeah, evidently he was going up and patting these guys on their stomachs, and so one of them got physical with him, and then he wanted to cry like a little bitch, saying, "Oh, look, they're attacking me." It was like, why were you over there touching their stomachs? Like, why were you over there touching a grown man? And so, like I said, G-Con had to pull this dude aside and go, look, if they're already calling you gay, why are you putting your hands on them and then saying that you're going to spank them? That shit is suspect. Like, I would call you out for that. Trying to talk to this dude and tell him, look, bro, quit doing that shit and giving them more ammunition. But no, G-Man likes to touch on other dudes. So, I mean, hey, is it a surprise? No. There's a reason he's single and he lives in his sister's attic. Just saying. Just saying.
Ugh.
Hey, if
I
it's
think
not,
I think a lot of them. I think a lot of them have. And then Penis the Gobbler is here again. Ooh, Sade the Secret Keeper here again. Hello, Penis. I might catch you again, girl. Anyway, uh, I think a lot of them have a problem with sexuality in general.
oh yeah,
Like,
oh yeah.
I personally do not give a fuck. Sincerely, don't give a fuck.
You
Doesn't
like
matter to
women?
me.
Yeah.
Well, I can, yes, if I met the right person, sure.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, me and Jade used to have long conversations about that. But it really is like, if I get to know the person well enough, then the affection starts to develop. It doesn't just happen. It's
I
not
don't
like
care about
I
that.
like
Tell
that
me
guy.
about eating the carpet. That's what I want to hear about.
Oh my god.
I'm just messing with you.
Fucking God, like from pretty tame to like 10.
Yeah, just 0 to 100, just immediately. But no, like that's
Jesus.
but it's like and that's what I found interesting. But did you get this? Like when I was talking about meeting uh I forgot her name. The trans woman who came to my political science class. She's a friend of my instructor. And I was like, oh okay, I got to talk to her and we actually discussed the insecurities about like men saying that they are attracted to trans women because it's like if you see this and it pains me I forgot her name. If you look from behind, you can't tell that this might be actually somebody with a dick. But as soon as he turns around, it's like, yeah, man, I'm looking at them knuckles. Yeah, I see you. So, so dudes don't know how to feel because all they see is ass, and they hit a fucking Chucky Darwin, Isaiah. So they they get the Isaiah goggles on, and they're going for that ass, and they're like they don't know how to feel about themselves now because it's like you done trick my sexuality, you turn my sexuality against me, but they can't just say
That's
what,
the weirdest thing, though. Like,
yeah.
why you don't I like to say this to a lot of people. You can take a lot of power out of a situation that makes you uncomfortable, than making a joke out of it or turning it into a positive. Like let's say you got excited, behind from somebody, right? And then that person turns around and like I would go up to them, interact with them, like, listen, if I didn't, like, if you were, what, you'd be very like I would be very attracted to you, like you look very sexy today or something, like give a compliment, and obviously don't be creepy about it, but like give a compliment, take power out of that situation that made you feel uncomfortable, right? Because if you're taking it into a positive, that person would also everybody likes nice, well placed compliments. Man, woman, trans, bi, non-binary, whatever. Everybody likes nice, well-placed comments. And, like you feel less awkward because instead of being like, oh my God, now I can't show my face around here for whatever fucking reason, you took power out of it. Now it's just, oh, I'm glad I made that person feel good. I'm
But
glad I turned that around.
well,
Instead they're
that
just like, ah, oh, disgusting. It's disgusting. Look at it. Right? Now you're just being a dickhead.
well, that's the weird thing about it too, because he thought that I guess True assumed that I was insecure with my sexuality. I'm like, no, I know that this person who identifies as a female has a dick. Something I don't really want on me, but I still liked him as a person, and so I guess he thought that that would somehow like get under my skin. Was like, well, let's think about this for a second. If they're in my class and I'm telling you guys about them and telling you about the stuff that I learned about this person, wouldn't that indicate to you that I feel comfortable enough with my sexuality to do that? So because if I was insecure, why would I even be talking about it?
Right. You would stay away from that. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, you could take so much. from people, you know, and you don't have to feel awkward. You don't have to make it a big deal because chances are, they're aware. Chances are, you know, people are mistaking them for one thing or another. They have to deal with awkward, you know, bullshit all the time. So, you know, why make it worse for them? Why make someone else's life more miserable because you're an asshole, right? Like, oh, I accidentally had a physical reaction to something that wasn't really what I intended. Here, let me make you feel bad about a physical reaction I couldn't help.
Oh,
You know, when you put it that way, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it really doesn't make any fucking sense.
I just thought about something. So did you catch? And I don't normally watch his stupid fucking videos, but someone linked me one of his videos a few weeks ago. Actually, no, it was like sometime like maybe over a month ago. And he looks at his phone and goes, "Oh, that's my girlfriend. She's texting me. Oh, I'm just gonna ignore her. I'm gonna hang out right now." And I
It's
said,
a trap.
hold on for a second. What straight man gets one of those calls, or excuse me, those texts in the middle of the night and goes, "You know what? I'm just going to ignore her." There's only a few reasons somebody that you're supposedly in a relationship with, that you're not living with, texts you in the middle of the night. It's for some dick. And there's no straight man that I know that goes, "You know what? I am on the internet. Let me turn down this text message and continue surfing the fucking internet and talking to people on the internet." That there is no dude that I know that actually does that. So I'm like, either he's lying or he's talking to a dude who wants to fuck him in the ass and he doesn't feel like getting fucked in the ass right now. So
He's not interested. And there's again nothing wrong with that if he is interested in that kind of foreplay, I guess. Not ain't nothing wrong with it. But he's got to make everything wrong with it. You know, he's the one who's insecure. He's the one who's got to say, oh, you know, open his mouth and reveal how retarded he is, you know. He's got to make shit bad. Ah, fuck, I almost died in lava. Jesus, I thought this was fucking stairs. Ooh. Anyway. Shit, that scared me. He's the one that's got to make sure that everybody feels bad for him, you know, having a reaction he couldn't help. Same thing with his incessant need for being some sort of authority on ID and evolution and science in general. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He knows he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about to a certain degree, not entirely cognizant, but he's aware. But at the end of the day, everybody else has got to be the one that's at fault for either misunderstanding him or just not being on the same intellectual level, on the same brainy level as Mr. puts pink lip gloss and goes live on a hangout and isn't effeminate, you know?
I do like the fact that he rather than stopping the whole making the effeminate faces and shit, rather than saying, "You know what, let me not just stop this behavior," he just goes, "I'm just gonna turn off my camera. I'm still gonna make all the fucking effeminate faces and shit. I'm still gonna do all the gay shit that I pretend I don't like doing. I'm just gonna turn off my camera."
He's stupid. He's dumb as shit. Like, how more fucking obvious do you want it? That everybody's hurting your fifis, so then you're just fucking like, what a dumb bitch. Like, seriously?
But
I'm gonna show you guys a video of me driving my car, but this time I'm gonna have the camera on, but pointed at my stupid orange-looking shorts. Fuck you. I know where you got that. That's J.C. Penney, you broke-ass bitch. I know exactly where you got that. They have fucking Nikes. Get the fuck out of here.
Payless, man.
I would.
Broke-ass bitch.
You know what? Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over you guys not wanting to engage anymore. Not like they really did before. But I mean, you know what? Like, I think that they're like talking to True about like the philosophical implications of the position he's putting forward. You know, I would have that conversation. You know, and I think I've said that before about that stuff. And you know, these guys they weren't interested in conversations well before.
Right.
You know, this stuff started. Why are you using a hatchet on that Elk King?
Don't judge me.
Whatever.
Yeah, I just like this whole. I was using a pickaxe actually, but I do like this. Well, we're boycotting Dragnet. It's like y'all weren't boycotting me before, like.
Oh yeah, I had such riveting conversations with True Pierces of Veckel and fucking G-Man before. I'm losing out on so much of my life.
Like, I'm sorry.
Fuck off.
People go to y'all. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all the ones who get 100 viewers in the middle of the night. My bad. People go to y'all. They don't come to me. But meanwhile, like I could sit. But I love how G-Man doesn't realize that when he wants to talk about parasitism, he doesn't want to talk about the different types. So let me help you with that. So there's mutualism, there's parasitism, or I should say, there's different types of symbiosis. Okay, let's get it out there. There's different types of relationships between organisms. You can have one organism harm another. You can have both of them help each other, and then both of them don't really harm or help each other. Okay, let's just
You know
put
how
up the
you can remember
concepts.
that?
How can you remember it?
You know how you can remember that? Spider-Man.
Spider.
Venom is a symbiotic. Venom is a symbiotic relationship, so both parties benefit, right? So you get all the powers and all the good shit, and Venom, the space thing that it is. I forgot what it's called. There's a word. There's a term for that. The space thing that it is basically like harnesses your nutrients and shit like that, right? So through the skin, through absorbing through the skin. And Carnage is a parasite because he takes all the good shit and gives you nothing in return.
So that's close enough. The issue here with this whole fucking discussion is that G-Man hasn't figured something out yet, and it should be obvious that if someone has content or they're doing commentary and I guess their channel, whatever that they have, is based on someone else's channel, well, you could do one of two things. You could either stop making content for them and they just run out and you just starve them, or you could do the same thing to them. And so it becomes more of a mutualistic relationship. But G-Man hasn't figured out how to do that to me. And I think that's very telling because he could do the same thing. So I'm willing to say, G-Man, go look at some of my old videos and check to see if I haven't changed some of my old positions. Because if I haven't, then there's plenty you could criticize me on. Or you could actually just pick videos very recently or discussions. I don't know. How about, I'll give you one, G-Man. I'll help you out. Go watch the conversation I had with Antonio because I know you didn't actually watch it. You just knew it was happening. And find specific points that I made and base your rebuttal on watch this folks, specific points that I have made, not what you think I said, specific things. It helps, and get this, if you write down verbatim what I said using the closed caption. I'm giving them the keys to the bank, folks. I'm giving keys to the vault. Write down what the fuck I said. Listen, because we had two conversations, and here again, I'm giving him access to all the lock boxes now. Go talk to Antonio because there is another conversation we had over Facebook, and he has the voice recordings and the messages so that you could have them at the ready. Okay? So you can take those and you can form rebuttals and take all the time you need. Because I know in my heart of hearts, that you are truly a fuck up and an idiot. Even with all of those resources, even with me telling you, I'll give you one. Speaking on it, and this is how I'm going to wrap this up. Remember that thing about the parasite that I said, that you mentioned about parasitism and me being a parasite? Criticize me on that, but come up with a good criticism. Okay?
And don't ask for empiricism. Don't get it. Do it yourself. Do your own research. Don't go to him in private or somebody else in private and be like, so can you explain this to me? No, try to do your own research. Look at those textbooks and all this other shit and come up with your own answer. Even if it's wrong, that's fine. Do your own research.
Like I don't know how else like I can make it. Like how easier can I make this for him? Is that too easy?
No, because it's gonna be. Listen, chances are he's either gonna, not do it, or he's gonna listen to what true empiricism has to say. And what true empiricism has to say is the equivalent of listening to, birds farting. So it's just noticeable enough to be like, what the fuck? Like, that's basically it. So what actual content is there at that point to discuss? To discuss. Not much. Really not much. And it's sad because I'd like to talk about ID. I'd like to, get more involved in the different arguments. Problem is, none of them want to change anything. So it doesn't matter how many times you bring, issues up and things that they need to address, otherwise it's a problem. Because they disagree or they don't see it as a problem, therefore you're lying and you sin, you're, truth and unrighteousness and all this other
Suppression,
bullshit.
suppression art.
Suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. Yeah, exactly. So there's no conversation to be had. And if you want to know where the conversation went, it's when we stop getting new people in with new, novel, interesting arguments. Because no matter how many times we provide a rebuttal, it doesn't go anywhere. Because then we can just provide a different, criticism or a different, point out a different problem. Well, they're just repeating themselves. The true empiricism does, because he's a broken fucking record.
Oh my god. I think that actually reminded me. G-Man made a pretty interesting statement. I think it was last night. He said, "Well, these guys don't even know what true empiricism's arguments are. They don't understand what he's saying." And I was like, "Well, that's kind of a testament to the fact that he's inarticulate. He doesn't know what he's talking about, both as in a combination." But we made transcripts of what he said. We've actually made fucking transcripts. I've sent one of those transcripts to one of my previous instructors, and they can't even decipher his garbage. So I mean, it's they can lie to themselves all day long. But when me and Sam started going around asking like some of the buddies, like, "Hey, what is Truth's position on DNA and water?" "Oh, I don't know. You have to ask him." "Well, weren't you? I thought you said you learned from him." "I heard you. Didn't you say, yeah, I learned something from him all the time." "So what science have you learned from him?" "Oh, he taught me about ID." I said, "Well, okay. He taught you shitty Christian apologetics. That's fine. What acts like just regular ass science that you could take it and you could apply it in a classroom or go into your kitchen and fucking apply it, whatever. What did he actually teach you?" No one has been able to tell us anything. Not a goddamn person. G-Man
Because the
tried.
motherfucker speaks like a Looney Tune goddamn cartoon. What do you think? Everybody's gonna learn. Let me explain something to you. It's fucking unintelligible.
Ionic bonds with the Strasbourg levels and
Yeah, but with the idea of the same thing as mitochondria, this is part of the cell. Yes.
with the
Please, it's fucking stupid.
beta clans with the monosodium with the hydraulic reaction of
Exactly, it's a fucking Looney Tune cartoon. Like nobody even fucking can understand him except for like a 5-year-old, and at that point, fuck me, we've hit the peak of intelligent conversation at that point.
I played his inner solipsism speech to somebody, and they looked at me like I was fucking
God.
crazy. I gotta do that again.
Because magically they're able to filter out all the and come up with something intelligible, except they can't actually tell you what it is. It's just, I remember the word powerhouse. I remember the word designed. I remember the word cell.
That reminds me. So I'm not going to say who. A Christian called me about 3 or 4 months ago and said, "Hey, while we're on the topic of science, can you tell me what true empiricism is talking about when he talks about I can't remember. He says it anytime he talks." And I was like, "ATP?" I was like, no. Well, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, well, he kind of mentions it there, but he mentions it, along with other stuff." And it was like phosphorus. I was like, "Phospholipid?" He's like, "No, it's no, it was I was like, "Phosphorus?" No, he said it wasn't phosphorus. I know what that is, but I was like, "A phospholipid?" "Oh yeah, phospho." He's always mentioning something about phospholipids. I was like, "Well, what is the content?" Like, I've never really got. He just mentions it, and he's never really explained like how that's significant in any of his argument. I was like, wow. So I said, "Okay, has he ever like explained to you what phosphorus is?" "No." "Has he explained to you what phosphate is?" "No." "Okay." So he said, but it's in conjunction with his ATP, argument that he uses. I said, okay.
Bullshit.
I
Excuse
think
me, argument. Yeah.
so because he brings it up, and so I said phosphate. Okay, so you have phosphorus and 4 oxygens. That's it. That's what a phosphate is. He said, "That's it. That's the rest, really?" I said, "Yeah, that's it. That's all phosphate is. I mean, it's an electronegative, molecule. I mean, like, he says, oh, like he talks about it like it's the amazing, like they just discovered it or something, or just like it's this amazing thing." And I was like, "No, it's just it's a molecule. Like I don't like But so like this guy was so like it was so anticlimactic. I can't even put it into words because the way that True talks to these guys, it's like he discovered it himself. It's like that's the way he blows it up. It's like, yeah, like this phosphate. It's like, bruh,
Let me
bruh.
talk to you about some science today,
So
boy.
that verifies something for me. So he goes to talk to these guys who know who really what they're interested to learn about DNA. Like a lot of people don't actually know how DNA gets wound up and how it stays tight. It's actually a pretty interesting topic, but he can't actually articulate. Well, he doesn't know himself, but he can't actually articulate it. But when he starts doing this stuff, it's not something that he pulls out for us. He really doesn't know how to communicate with other Christians, and so he ends up just saying things, and they go, "Oh, he used the word I didn't know, so he must know what he's talking about." And so that's
That's
why,
exactly
yeah,
the point.
yeah,
That's exactly it. It's oh my God, he said mitochondria. Oh my God, he said ATP synthase. He said phosphodiesterbound. Oh shit, he definitely knows his shit. Meanwhile, here I can start saying, CRM and start talking about, what the fuck a convergence cell or convergence funnel is, and nobody's gonna fucking know what I'm talking about. But it doesn't. But that, they're gonna think I'm smart as shit because I'm saying all these terms that they don't know what the fuck it means,
well,
right?
well, well.
Like,
Take this for instance. Now, look. Remember my conversation with Jesus is Lord. Remember at the end of it, like I had to fucking tell this dude, like, dude, your seventh grade education on this is not gonna cut it for what we're talking about. I wasn't saying that to strictly be demeaning, but it's just like what we're talking about is not discussed with seventh graders. It's just not. But notice that at the end of the conversation, when I started using Final Fantasy references, he still thought I was an authority on fucking science. Now, I did that to be funny, but to illustrate something. These guys don't even know what they don't know. They have no idea on actually how to gauge anybody's knowledge, especially True's. And so he plays on that. Dream Man has no fucking idea that True is a goddamn idiot. There's a reason he lives
and
in
a
the fucking hood of
liar.
hoods. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. He's deceit. He knows the thing. This is again. This is what I'm gonna always say. This is why I absolutely detest true empiricism. Every time I see that motherfucker online, if he's in the same room as me, I'm not giving him a moment to speak. He is a liar, and he knows it. He's aware. He makes excuses for it. He says, "Well, you guys lie all the time too." So, like he'll make excuses for it. He'll diminish his lying, and he knows he's a dumbass. He knows. But he'll say, "Oh, but you guys didn't know this one thing that I said incorrectly, and then you guys made an assumption about what I was actually talking about." Meanwhile, it was just ambiguous enough to be open for interpretation because I used the term incorrectly. Like he knows it, and he's purposely insulting everybody else's intelligence by choosing those who really. And there is a certain level of knowledge that G-Man wants, and I know that people are going to disagree with me, but he does. He does ask questions, and he genuinely wants to learn something. Granted, there's other issues at play, which is why he has a much more difficult time of actually retaining that information. But
Fetal-alcohol
he's
syndrome.
genuinely curious. He's genuinely curious about things. And then it's people like dumbass true empiricism, lying ass motherfucking hillbilly hood goblin who doesn't even know what the fuck, a standard house goes for in his area. Somehow wants to fucking say he's in such a better economic position because he paid pennies for his house.
That's a trap house. That man lives in a
Somehow,
fucking
a,
trap
a
house.
trap house. Right. Somehow that makes him an authority on science because he knows words and things. He's lying to people like G-Man. He's lying to people like Veckel and all these other people. I bet Veckel's smart enough too to realize he's being lied to. That's why he doesn't really go in on these discussions like that. He'd rather talk about, apologetics and,
Veckel knows
biblical
better.
slavery. And,
Veckel
yeah,
fucking
he
knows
knows
better.
better.
He knows better because
Yeah, he knows
I've
better.
gotten
But people like G-Man don't.
no, because Veckel knows that when I would push this shit in on here and on Facebook, he knew better. And actually there's 2 more minutes because we've been on here like almost 2 hours. I'm going to end it after this and go do something. Me and you got to do something constructive, Hannah. That involves calculus. But
Mm.
the funniest time I've ever gotten Veckel is when he was trying his subjective, arbitrary, subjective bullshit. When he first realized that he is on a platform and he wants to talk and support his brothers, but he doesn't want to be at the forefront, but he wants to definitely be somebody in their corner. So when you go and say, well, Veckel, how do you know that what your brothers are saying is true? Well, I just subjective, arbitrary, no subjective, arbitrary opinion. I know, and I said, okay. So when he and I would actually get in discussions about God's nature and whether it was arbitrary or subjective or objective, and so when he would describe it, he would describe it as subjective. And I said, well, hold on, you're saying it's objective, but the description sounds a lot like subjective. And he said, no, you just don't understand. So, oh, thank you, Geek Room.
Drag.
So, hmm,
There's a dragon in the volcano.
there is.
What the fuck? It's a great. I don't know where I ended up, but there is a motherfucking dragon. Holy!
You keep
I
it
don't have
there.
a bedroll, dude.
I don't. You better run. So what I ended up doing, Veckel, I said, all right, because Veckel, he will agree, and then when you say, well, hey man, that's subjective. Like we just agreed on everything. That's in this context, that's what subjective is. Nope, no, it's not. It's subjective. You just don't know. And I said, okay. I said, well, let me understand something. I opened up another tab and I literally read off the definition of subjective. He said, yep, that's it. And I said, well, I think we both agree then. That's subjective. He says, no, it's not. I said, and I screen share. I literally read off the definition of subjective. You just agreed to it. Oh, what? No, no, no. And he lost his shit. He lost his shit. And it was one of the best moments that showed me that he really doesn't actually have anything to add to this conversation. Any conversation. There, other than just being a dick sucker, Veckel has shit to add to any conversation. You couldn't really name a conversation where Veckel's come in and actually offer something. He's had exchanges with Floyd on certain biblical
Skylar.
issues, and Skylar to a lesser degree. But if you go look at the videos that Skylar made to Veckel, and look at the responses, because the responses are really interesting. Because what Veckel will then say, because he'll try and mimic what Skylar does. Oh, here's where he dishonestly represents me. He'll play the same clip that Skylar played. It's like, so wait, you just replayed the same thing, but you like, how did he misrepresent you? And then you'll see in the comments, oh, brother Veckel, he definitely got you wrong. It's like that's the same fucking clip. Like what about that? Like, was there a caption or something? Was it the gay music? Like what exactly did Skylar fucking do? Like where is it? Where's the timestamp? And it's nothing. He was upset because Veckel knows that he says stupid shit and he contradicts himself. There's an entire video on Veckel contradicting himself throughout the entire fucking like hour and a half conversation. There's an entire video. Go check out Skylar's channel. But he's not honest enough with himself to say, I don't understand these topics as well as I think I do. I'm here to support my brothers. I don't actually know this shit that well, but I'm here. He can't bring himself to say that. And one of the best things I like talking to his brother about, he agrees with me. His own flesh and blood brother agrees that he is too insecure to admit that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But he digs himself into a fucking hole and pretends as though if he can just get his brothers online, quote unquote, to agree with him, then he's right. Beckel don't know shit from shit. But he's here. It's just like the rest of these cats. It's like that there is nothing that any one of y'all really add to the conversation. Y'all are just here, unfortunately. And we're just here to suffer y'all's presence. That's it. Because the second that other people join this community, which that's actually coming, y'all are gonna be kicked to the fucking curb, and y'all can go suck each other off in a corner.
That's the saddest. And I'm gonna keep saying this. I'm sorry. I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's the saddest shit ever. Really, it is. Because imagine the level of discourse can be so much more, improved just by being honest with each other. Right, but you can't have that with this kind of conversation. That because at some point you got to say, listen, you got to have like at least a basic knowledge of certain things we're talking about. Otherwise, you can't add to the discussion, right? Same thing. Oh, motherfucker. Same thing like we can't have a discussion on the difference between teleologic and teleonomic design if you don't know the difference between the two.
Right.
So don't talk to me about design if you don't know the difference, because then we're talking past each other.
Yeah, but the honest thing would be to say, you know what? Let's define them. I think I know what you're talking about. Let's put the definitions on the table, and so we have a starting point. That's the honest thing to do, because I get them confused all the fucking time, all the time, just like I do everything else in philosophy. But I'm a big enough person to say, you know what? Let's make sure we're on the same page. It's not a mar against anyone's fucking, image, but it's an admission that makes you more humble, ironically enough, as a person. That these guys, they can't do it. They can't suffer that fucking, that blow publicly, because to them, they're on Team Jesus, when in reality, they're on Team G-Man's cock. Were you trying to say something, Saka? Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead and end this. You have anything else to say, Hannah?
All good here.
All right. Catch you folks later.